Hello, everybody. Welcome to week 2. It's exciting that we get to be in week 2 already. How's everybody feeling about it? Is everybody feeling good? Good? Yeah? Well, I hope you guys had fun.
Bring on week
You hadn't
5.
noticed. What did you say, Robert?
Bring on week 5.
You're already on week 5. Well, we'll trace it back and bring it back to week 2 a bit to talk about the laws and regulations, and we get to talk about ethics. And if you hadn't noticed, I have a bit of a cold, so sorry for my throat being a bit off today. For those who, you guys did your assignments, you guys, does anybody have any questions about that, about your assignments or anything? Yeah, Robert.
Are you gonna grade me yet?
I will grade the week 2 assignments, the people that submitted. I will do that tonight. And remember, for those, you still have that chance to resubmit. I really want to make certain that you guys understand that it's like, this is that foundation for your business plan. So I really want to make certain that you guys get it right. And I want to make sure that you have it down and it's solid for you. So anybody who's having problems with it or troubles, just call me, let me know. We can work it out together. The earlier you submit, the more time we have to work on stuff. So if you submit early, we can always go through it together, because I really want to make certain that you guys have it down. Yeah. Oh, you changed to Sparkling Chef, Chalet. What is the question?
Yeah, you know the part in the demographics part where you go to the census, and then you get all the information. I looked at my census and it was like old, like 2010. And then but do I put that information about the census on my business plan?
You can, yeah. Actually, when I put together a business plan, I actually found we had a location that we're interested in, and it was in a mall area, and we actually ended up that leasing agent had all of those demographic information. So I ended up taking that and using that in my investment proposal. So you can always find it. Like, real estate agents are great for that type of information. So you can really, you can really find that all that information from a real estate agent. And I
didn't know that I could kind of take advantage of them then.
Yeah, I can even pull it up too while Robert asks his question.
Actually, it wasn't a question. I was going to kind of piggyback on what you said, Chef. The more the research you get done and the earlier you get the assignment done, the more you can get the critique in order to fix certain things that you might not have seen in the first place.
What are you talking about?
Something like that. I'm Polish,
No, he's talking about well, no, I got you, Robert. You're talking about being able to get a fresh set of eyes on it. Right. I had all of my major projects due on Sunday. I had my sister look over it for me. One, she has her PhD, and 2, she's married to an engineer. So I'm like, hey, both of you, can you check this out and make sure this looks good for me? Because it's always good to get that fresh set of eyes who hasn't seen your concept before. So it is really, really helpful. And I found my information. I'm going to share it with you guys right now. Share my screen that shows. So I ended up getting this. So this right here, I found this was from that leasing agent, the mall itself. They had the population in the trade area, so that was all of northern Colorado. They had the family income range. They had how many cars went by per day. They had all of that information. So I was able to get that and place that into this delightful PowerPoint presentation that I made for my class. But you can find that information. You don't have to go to the census. But wherever you do find it, just tell me where you found it so I know where you got it from.
Okay, but I like your idea because I want to get up-to-date stuff. Like that was 2010. We're 2019. So I don't know how many times they take a census every 10 years, but your idea about going to the mall and getting those statistics, yeah, I want to be more current in that way.
Yeah, and you definitely would want to go to like that leasing agent, whoever that like leasing agent is, and they're the ones that will have that brochure and give it to you. And I even found that one online. So you can definitely find that information out there.
Okay, thank you so much.
Yeah, no problem. And that will definitely help. And then for this week, let's pop into.
There is a lot of research to this week's assignment. It's just you have to put the time in for it. And I know with me, I spent a lot of time doing the research for the assignment. It's just you got to put the time in.
Yeah, and with this, and yeah, especially with this assignment. And I love this assignment too, because now is the time where you really can get to go out there and make those connections. Make those connections in your community, because you're going to be asking these questions, and it's a lot easier to do when you know you have when you're a student, because people are definitely more willing to help you out. And yeah, Sandra, I totally get it too, because having 2 jobs, getting my master's, having a 5-year-old run after. But I will tell you this, I even did my master's project on Nordstrom. I had one of my projects for finances was on Nordstrom, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to go to the source. I need to find out this information about this company. I'm just going to email the Nordstrom brothers, and all 3 Nordstrom brothers. And I just put like super awesome MBA student needs help with assignment on my thing. And every single, like each one of them got back to me. It was like such a nice, refreshing, like seeing how helpful people will be. And I was not anticipating them getting back to me at all. So it was a really nice surprise, and people will surprise you, especially with this type of research. They really will surprise you. You what?
It was the way you presented it to them.
I know. So just put super awesome culinary student. I even put in there that I would like give them their favorite pastry treats, that I was a chef, and I'll bake them their favorite pastry treats if they, treats if they ended up answering my questions. So so yeah, it's a great way to like make those connections and get out there, and it helps you when you're getting ready to establish your business, or even finding jobs or your externships and all that kind of stuff. That's a great way to get out there and find out information if you guys haven't come up with your externship yet. How many of you have come up with your externship? So for those, and those are
I
watching,
have an idea on mine, and you gave me all the info, and I submitted all that stuff to them.
Well, for those, and those are watching the live session archive, remember that you know, your externship, that can take time. Like I ended up doing my externship for culinary school in Australia. And that took time. That took time for me to set up the visas, to get everything in order. So start thinking about your externship now and get that going now. Rebecca, you had your hand up first, and then Chalet or Sparkling Chef, you can go after.
Well, I'm not sure if you'll be able to answer this question, because I've already talked. I actually am on disability and cannot work. I won't be able to do the externship.
Rebecca.
So, yes.
Are you in the Facebook group?
Yes.
Look up, message Tanya Rose, because I'm in the same exact situation and they're making an exception for me. Okay.
Oh. Alrighty. Thank you.
Okay. And if that doesn't work, Rebecca, just let me know, and then I can figure out who you should contact. Okay.
Can I piggyback on that one? I'm also on disability, but an externship you can do while on disability as long as you don't go over so many hours per week, according to Social Security. Disability is
well, it's not because of I'm on disability that I can't do it. It's because my body won't allow it. My lungs won't allow it. So there's absolutely no way I'm going to be able to do an externship.
So then, yeah, I would just like, if you see what Tanya does and if that doesn't work out, let me know and I'll find out for you who you should contact.
Okay.
Okay. And then Sparkly Chef, what was your question?
Hi. My question is, when we do our externship, do we have the executive chef or the manager sign a paper to prove that we're doing it?
I do not know. That's an excellent question.
There is, you have to go through your career person. They will email you all the paperwork, tell you exactly what you need to take in, when your start date is, which is July 10th for our group. We end August 20th. We take a resume in to the shop. We talk to the manager or the owner, and they will take the paperwork with our information that we put on it. They will fill it out. They will send it in. Okay?
And you know what? You know what I'll do? Next week, I will ask the chef in charge of the externships to come and talk to you guys about that. We'll give her like.
Oh, that'll be good.
And then
that'll be really good.
Talk to you guys, and then that way you can you can get all your questions answered. Does that sound good?
Yeah, it sounds really good. Yeah. And thanks,
Okay,
Elaine. I got July 10th. I wrote it down. Thanks.
Perfect. All right. So then, for week 2, remember we had that delightful, I make all these awesome videos just for you guys. And then I wanted to make sure that you guys saw this right here. I made this for you guys. It doesn't have, you don't have to use it at all for your assignment or anything like that. It was just a really good information that I wanted you guys to have. And it's for when you're either a manager, you're a business owner, all that kind of stuff. These are the general questions that you need to know about your labor laws. And I wanted to make sure that you guys had a good basis to go off of, so that you knew, like, because with laws, we have the federal laws versus state laws and all those kind of changes. And it's good to know what's federal, what's state, and because it's always varying. It's always different. It's different in every single state. It's never the same. The federal sets that minimum that is required, and then it's up to your state to go above and beyond or just keep it where it's at. And so I gave you guys this right here. So it's like, how late can a 15-year-old busboy work on a school night? How old must be somebody to work in the restaurant dining room versus being able to use power slicers and grinders and that kind of stuff. And I just wanted to make sure that you guys had a good set of questions to go off of so that you knew what to look for when you are going out there and you're at that point where you need to start hiring and figuring out, all of this information. And it's also good to know for you being an employee to make certain that you're, wherever you work, they are doing stuff correctly for you. Because I don't want to, I am one that wants to double check my paycheck and make sure that it is right and I got paid accordingly. And, I don't want to rely on somebody else doing that for me. I want to know what the laws and regulations are. So I wanted to give you guys that option so that you had that. Do you guys have any questions on that? No? Everybody good with that? Everybody good with that? All right. Because, yeah, that was always that list that I wish I had. Sparkling Chef, I'm right there with you. Like, I wish I had that. I saw that on the chat, and I was like, yeah, I wish I had this. I'm going to make this for you guys. So I wanted to make sure you guys had that. And then if we go back to the screen, let's check out. Here we have all of that great stuff right here. The laws and regulations, we got the ethics, you guys got your knowledge checks. Remember, those knowledge checks are worth points, so be certain to do the knowledge checks. And then we have our discussion on ethics, and that's going to be due on Saturday at 11:59 p.m. Central Standard Time. And then we have our assignments, which we will go over at the end of class, but I wanted to make sure that I pointed it out for you guys. Robert, you had a question. What is your question, Robert?
I think I accidentally hit that by accident.
Okay, no worries. It's all
Sorry.
good. It's all good. All right. So, and another thing I want to make sure that you guys remember is that if you guys have any week 1 late assignment submissions, they are due tonight at 11:59 p.m. So get them in. Let's take a look at it. Let's make sure that we have it down. I really want to make certain that you guys are all set and you have a solid foundation. Because I always say I'm not training line cooks. I'm training managers and business owners, and I want to make sure that you guys got it down. And if you do need questions, just let me know. We can go over it together. I love doing that type of stuff. And I love having adult conversations since I talk to a 5-year-old all day. So bring it on. And then we get to talk about ethics. What do you guys think ethics is?
It's really manners, you know, having the right
Sense.
manners and behavior, you know.
Manners,
It's the
right?
principle of the law.
Who said that?
The principles instead of the law.
The principles instead of the law.
Yeah, I don't think it's the law. I think it's based on how you were raised and what you were taught and how you would deal with things, not necessarily a law.
Well, no, she said the principles instead of the law.
Oh,
Yeah.
okay. I'm sorry.
You're good. Yeah, she said.
I was going to say the propriety of actions.
The propriety of actions. Ooh, look at you. Propriety. And Sandra 6 with standard.
Knowing not to screw somebody over.
There you go, Greg. There you go. It is. You are learning what is, you know, that basic standard guideline of what is right and what is wrong. And food has been at this ethical debate since the beginning of time, right? Because you can have that conversation. Is that a cucumber, or is that a cucumber that was made with GMOs picked by illegal, ill-paid immigrant workers? So there's a whole slew of an fantastic ethical debate about food. And it's something that most people aren't aware of because they don't assume that, you know, those laws are there. But as Robert and you guys have definitely known, there is a difference between being ethical and being lawful, right? Because the health department, they don't care if you got organic cucumbers. They care about you not getting anybody sick. So those are the ways that you look at that. And it's really part of the culture that you decided to make for your business. What are you going to focus on as a business owner? What's going to be your priority? And that's why going through those mission statements, going through the vision and the goals and all that good stuff. Yeah, Robert, is so important. Yes, Robert.
You used the word assume, and from what I was raised on, the word assume, I'm sure you've probably heard it too.
I know, but don't do that. Don't make that.
I'm not going to, but that's how I was raised. But you had used that word.
Yeah, because people do.
I don't think it worked for that part of that conversation.
Well, I think that people shouldn't make those people shouldn't make assumptions that people know, because everybody's ethics are different. Everybody's going to be slightly different. Some people ethics are, I'm going to be vegan, I'm going to not use honey, I'm going to do all that type of stuff, versus somebody else who's is going to be a meat eater, and it's kind of up to you.
Hey, now don't say that meat eater word like it's a bad word, chef.
Oh, I'm not saying that's a bad word. I mean, I help my friends butcher chickens.
Hey, I believe in people eating tasty animals. There we go.
But remember, that's part of that you know, making certain that you want to be sure that you get your business, you decide what your business is going to be and what you want your culture to be. So that's why it's important to make those establishments now about that mission statement, about the vision, about your core values for your business. How many people have heard of core values before? Okay, Sparkly Chef, what are core values?
Sorry. Core values, like fundamental truth or principles, are like truthful, honest, open, transparent, communication, you know, not, you know, not being judgmental, and allow people their free choice, you know, and not judge them because they make a choice that way. Just that's what they chose. You know?
Yeah, exactly.
Honesty.
Mm-hmm.
Not pushing our consciences onto other people.
Yeah, I agree. That's good.
But it also has to do with ethics, because that ties into ethics.
Integrity.
Integrity. Look at you guys go. And so
Respect.
That's why I have it here for you guys to see, the core values. It's that belief that will help guide the behavior of your business. Understanding what type of ethics you hold will help you understand the type of core values and what you want to have for your business. So in that culture, that is that shared attitude, the values, the beliefs, the customs, those unwritten rules that have been developed over time, that are considered of value to you and your staff. And I wanted to show you guys, I went too far. Corporate social responsibility. That's something that you see in a lot of corporations. And they have that list of guidelines that this is what they want to focus on. Are they going to focus on providing, you know, organic food? Are they going to be sustainable and use like farm to table and solar panels and all that kind of stuff? Or maybe they're going to help feed the homeless and that kind of thing. This is where you get to really decide what you want your establishment to be. And then, so I gave you guys some of these links, and I wanted to really make sure that you guys got to know this, because this is a certification that you can get for your business. It's called B Corporation. And it's a type of standard that people have as an organization, and they just check to make sure that you're keeping with your beliefs, what you wanted your corporate social responsibility to be. And I wanted to show you too, because there's a lot of different companies that are involved in a lot of different industries. And you have Ben & Jerry's, you have the Stonyfield organic yogurt, you got New Belgium Brewery, which is in Fort Collins, and then the Cabot, like all of these ones. And they go through and they want to make sure that they are building a better environment through the business they have created. And I wanted to give that option for you guys so that you could see what that was like. Rebecca, what is your question?
Is it like the Better Business Bureau?
It's not like the Better Business Bureau, but it's like a similar organization, because, you know, that Better Business Bureau, that really helps you, like, that gives you that rating that you can be a part of. And then if people have, you know, an issue with your business, they help you resolve it. But it's another, oh, sorry, go ahead.
Kind of like keeping us accountable.
Yes, exactly. Very good. Very good, Rebecca. And that's another one that you can definitely be a part of if you wanted to be. And then I have another one here, and this one is, if it will open, it is website that shows you what everybody's doing around the world to create a sustainable world. And remember, all these slides will be available for you guys. It'll be under the live session archive right in that area, so you guys can look at it. And it just is a fun little tool to see what everybody's doing. So, and they do these reports, and they make sure, like, see what the standards are, what people are working on, what they're not working on. So I wanted to give that to you guys as a guide, so that you have that. And then here's another one, which is another, it's actually like a, magazine for environmental magazine kind of thing. And they tell you about all the different stuff happening, what's going on. This one's about Canada, but they have all this other clean education and food and beverage and lifestyle and all that stuff. So you can kind of see what's happening in the world. So you get a better perspective.
All I saw was bacon at the top.
Yep. Yeah, there is bacon. But this is a great website for you guys just to get an idea to see what's out there. Are there any questions about that right now? For anybody? No? Okay. Well, I wanted then also, I'm going to pull up my thing. I also wanted to show you guys, this is to get an understanding of how many businesses do a corporate social responsibility in their core values and stuff. This one is from that New Belgium that was in that B Corp. And then you have one from McDonald's. And if McDonald's has a corporate social responsibility, that's something that you should consider having for yourself as well. And New Belgium is one of those really cool towns really cool businesses in town that a lot of people want to work for because it has such a cool culture. But that fits a certain type of people too. They have their own group called the Beer Scouts, because it is a microbrewery, and the Beer Scouts go around and they go to all the different trails in the Colorado area, and they help clean up the trails and maintain them. They'll even go and help out with United Way and do the Larimer County, anything with dogs, because I cannot remember. Sorry. Sparkling Chef, what is your question?
No, I like you bringing this out because when you volunteer for certain, like United Way or something, you can also get credit so that they can also pay for your education.
Ooh, can they really?
Yeah, like the government has something called, I forgot the name of it. I wrote it down somewhere. But if you be a part of a nonprofit organization or give hours, like I'm doing a master gardening class with the UH Manoa, and being a trainee for the master gardener. And so my instructor said that she would sign off a paper that I could probably give to that corporation, a government corporation, that if I put community hours, that can pay towards my payment of my schooling.
Oh, that's really cool. That's really cool. I'm glad.
So nonprofits they serve a business. It's not just volunteers, but those volunteer hours are worth money, even though you don't get paid, it can apply towards maybe credit for your college or something.
Yeah, that's good to know. Thank you for sharing that. And I bet everybody who's watching the live session archive will like to know that too. So thank you. That's fantastic.
It actually depends on what you're putting your volunteer hours in for, because there's certain businesses that they don't recognize that.
Well, it's a good way to segment about how important research is, right?
Yep.
Because research is really, really important. So that's a great avenue to go through that Chalet brought up, but that's where it's always important to make certain that you do your research and double check to make sure that it's gonna be able to work for you. And that's something that you're gonna do with your business.
It's called due diligence.
Yeah, and that's something that you do work with your business, right? And your laws and regulations, they are different everywhere. There are federal laws, and then the county and state, like we talked about. And as an owner or a manager, or like I said, as an employee, you should know this stuff because it's going to affect you. So it's really important to be certain to know the laws and regulations in your area. For example, yeah, I love that. Bill, I also love that one. That's why I put that up there, because I love that, the dinosaur one. For example, how many people, like for my actual state in Colorado, you have to pay people overtime even if they're on salary. If they make below $55,000 a year, you have to pay them overtime, even if they're on salary. So that's why it's really important to know those rules and regulations, so that if you thought as a business owner, like, oh, well, I'll just put myself at 80 hours a week and I'm just going to work, so that's going to save me on my labor cost. Come to find out, that's not really going to save you on your labor cost, right? So that's where it's really important to know all of that information. And for that, I gave you guys, boom.
Yeah, you had told me about that on the overtime on salaried employees, and it is totally different, say, in Florida.
Yeah, it could be different.
Employees, hey, they can work them to death.
Yeah. How about everywhere else? Does everybody else know have that type of law in your area, or is it salary for everybody?
I never heard this only for the first time you mentioned in Colorado. Hawaii isn't like that.
Yeah. So that's where it's a very interesting thing. That's why it's so important to know, because people would always assume, like, you're on salary, it doesn't matter. Like, you can just work 50 billion hours and you're just getting paid $4 an hour at the end of it, right? But these are all things that you're going to want to know, especially when you start off your business. And I showed you guys, like, the ones I have SurfSafe up here. How many people have heard of SurfSafe? And Rebecca, you actually had your hand raised. So what is your question?
On that last thing that you had up with the fire code, isn't there more than fire code?
Oh yeah, I just put, what is the fire code? Like, those are the questions to look for. And those are actually going to be part of your assignment this week. So don't worry, we'll go over that part.
Okay, good.
Yeah. And then is SurfSafe. SurfSafe is one of those great organizations that are trying to make it so that it's, food handling is consistent. That's what they're really trying to go for. But it's different everywhere. Your area may not need SurfSafe. They may have something else. When I went and lived in, when I was still in New England, there was you had to have your SurfSafe certification. It was just a requirement. But then when I moved out to Colorado during that time frame, nobody needed that. Like, you didn't actually need the SurfSafe certification. And I actually called up the health department to figure out where I had to go to renew my certification. And I had to drive like 2 hours away to go find it. But now, and this was like, over like 10 years ago, but now it's actually a requirement that every single establishment in Colorado has at least one manager's SurfSafe certification. So, this is also a good time to realize too that times change and laws and regulations will change. So it's really important to know where this information is now so you can find it later in case anything happens. because I definitely know there was restaurants in my town where I'd go in and I'd talk to them. I'd be like, hey, I'm like, so are you like, did you get your manager's certification yet? And they had no idea. And I was like, no, this is a January 2019. You have to have this certification. And they didn't know because they didn't know where to even look to find that information. So if you get anything out of this week is to know where to find that information. So when it is your turn, you know where to look. Patricia, what is your question?
Yes, is there, the page you just shared your screen, it had the Surf Safe link and all those other links. Is that on the class page anywhere?
This is going to be part of those slides that I'm going to give to you guys. I'm going to put them right after our live session.
Okay, great.
So it's going to be right underneath that live session for you guys.
All right, thank you.
Yeah, no problem. Because I want to make sure you guys have it. And, you can get your manager certification and become an instructor and proctor like I am, and then you can make money teaching people Surf Safe. So it's another revenue stream for those who have ever considered that.
I realized that you could do it on your own. Like, we didn't have a manager on duty last time the health department came into our restaurant that was Surf Safe certified, and they took off a ton of points. So having somebody there that is Surf Safe certified is very important.
Oh yeah, so that's why I'm always all about it. And you can get the certifications, and you can become an instructor and proctor yourself, and then that can be another form of income. And it's great because people always need it, right? And then these were the ones that were in my area that I wanted to show you, like how I found that information. I went to the Department of Labor and Employment to figure out what my minimum wage is, what's the minimum wage for tipped employees, those kind of things. So, you can always find it on the government websites, that type of thing. You just need to find your state's Department of Labor and Employment to find those kind of information, that kind of information. And I found this one also where I just typed in Google and I put starting a business in Colorado, and I got this, and it gave you all this great information that you guys can go through, and your state will have something similar. So you just need to go through and find it. And if you can't find that information via website, what do you guys think you can do?
Google.
Google, what else?
Talk to the chef instructor.
Talk to the chef instructor. Yeah, well, you can call people, right? Yeah, you call people in your town. You can call the Visitors Bureau. You can call the Chamber of Commerce. You can call your downtown, like your business associations in your area. You can go to the city of, whatever city you live in, their courthouse, their government office, and you can just ask them that information, and they'll be more than happy to give you all of that stuff. If you can talk to the mayor, Sparkly Chef, that is, you're rocking it. Talk to the mayor. That's awesome. Make those connections. Rebecca, how can I help?
We don't have a Chamber of Commerce anymore in my little town, but it's in the next town.
Well, then, yeah, go to that next town and find out that information, or you can just Google. So remember, there's always a way to get to it, and then you'll be able to find that information. But this is a great way to really make connections. Get your name out there now. Get to know the fire department, because they're going to be the ones coming to your door in case something happens, right? So get to know them now, and get to know your the health inspectors. I know people always get a little like, oh my God, it's a health inspector, what do we do? But like, they're there to help. They're there because they want to make sure that you're doing your job. So,
and they're going to point out what is not right so that you can correct it, so that you can get that 100%.
Yeah, exactly. Sparkly Chef, what is your question?
No, I like the point about talk to your Department of Health, because if you have nothing to hide, you don't have to be afraid of nothing. If you're honest, open, transparent, they're your friends.
Yeah, they are. They're there to really help. And I mean, I'm legit friends with some of the health inspectors. They are my friends. And
Nice.
they are like the ones that are really helpful. Like, I mean, when we did like a giant renovation and I was like, oh my God, I don't know where to put like the exit signs and all this type of stuff. Like, where do I put all this stuff? I just called up my friend, like JJ from the fire department. I was like, hey, can you just come over and tell me where I should put like everything? Just tell me where I should put everything. And he was like, yeah, sure, I'll totally do that. And he just came right in and was like, okay. And I put Post-it notes in every place that I needed to put fire extinguishers. Like, I just did little stickies. So I knew like, okay, I got to put it there, I got to put it there. And he was great. And they're so helpful because they want to make sure that you succeed. They want to make sure that nobody gets hurt. So, you know, that's why they're there. They really do just want to help. So now's the time to get to know them, because they're all, you know, in the end of the day, everybody's just a person. So they just want to make sure that everybody's safe.
And it's always good to be on the good side of the health department person.
It is.
Never know what can happen.
It is. And we get to go over your assignment now. How exciting is that? Yay! So don't leave yet. Remember your week 1. If you guys have not turned it in, turn it in tonight. Get those points. Your week 2 assignments, they're going to be due next Tuesday, but get started now because this one's going to be a lot of research. It's going to be a lot of information. And if you get stuck, contact me. That is what I'm here for. So let me know and we can go through it together. I really want to make certain that you guys got this. So contact me if you run into issues. And then we have your discussion with 2 peer responses. I have to do discussions all the time. I have, in one of my classes, my franchise class, I had 2 discussions a week that I had to do. So that was a total, I took 3 classes. It was like 4 discussions with 8 peer responses at a minimum. So I know you guys can do this. You guys can pull out this discussion. And I like it. And I hope did you guys get the video link that I sent out to you guys talking about it? You guys all got that? Okay, good. Because there's great topics in there. And remember, it's open-ended for a reason. Because in life, you don't always know what's going to happen, right? You don't always get the full story. So it's always good to make sure that you know, like, you know, it's a good, exploring. And, was it, I think it was Daniel. Daniel, are you in here? No, but if you're watching the live session archive, he brought up a good point. If he, wait, hello? Did somebody say?
Here.
Oh, you are here. Yeah, okay. I was like, wait, I didn't see you in the stuff. But yeah, he brought up a good point. He asked if it was established or if it was new. And I said established, and he said, well, you should tell other people. But you know what, Daniel, I'm actually thinking it could go either way. We could really see, it would make it an interesting conversation to see really the difference between if you thought it was going to be an established business versus a brand new business, what your thoughts are about that. Because it brings a whole other perspective, right? So I am very glad that you brought up that point. So thank you so much for that. That was great. Sparkly Chef.
And just to add to that, a lot of times I'm a startup business. I'm going to make 1 year in August, but a lot of times getting credit or getting supporters or even getting funding for grants, they say, oh, we don't do startups. You know, we don't help finance startups. You have to be established. So it's like, you got to start somewhere. You know, it's like, where do I go? You know, it's like, show me the money. And it's like, people like, oh, you have to be in business for this long. And so.
Well, don't you worry, because we are going to go over all about that in week 6. So that is the beautiful thing. We are going to go over all of that, about all the different possibilities on what type of business entity you should make and how to find those investors. What's going to be your best, your best course of action. And as Abraham wrote, it's a catch-22. Yeah, we're going to go over that too, because, you know, investors want their money back, right? They want that return on investment. So we're going to go over all that stuff on week 6. So it's going to be a great week for that. But let us pull up your assignment. So remember, your assignment is right down here. You can either click on it here and make a copy, like so, and it's going to load. And this is what you're going to use. So you guys remembered how that concept summary, that was worth so many points, right? It was like, it was a good chunk of your grade, was that concept summary that you guys had nailed down. You are going to copy and paste that bad boy right there. So you're going to do that for this week's assignment. You're going to take that concept summary, those 1 to 2 sentences that you guys did, and you're going to copy and paste that right there. Now, this is an example, so don't worry, you don't have to do this, because remember, like I said, we're talking about the business entities and that kind of stuff in week 6, so you don't have to focus on that now. But we wanted to show you, I wanted to show you what you had to look for and what you had to focus on. So remember, we have our food handlers, food managers certification. Do remember that sometimes different places are different. Colorado requires that Serve Safe Manager certification. You're welcome, Bill. Since I know that you're in Colorado. Those in Colorado, you're welcome. But other places are different. Like other places require they have their own set of food handlers standards. So you need to find out where that information is. And remember, you have to cite it. If you didn't write it, you gotta cite it, right? Right? You gotta say where you got that information from and put it in the link here. Like just put that link right in there so I can see where you got it from. And then you're gonna say what it is. And for those who are in Colorado and Bill, you're gonna put, it is a requirement that Serve Safe Managers certification in every food establishment in that Colorado area. You put the link where you found it, and then how you're going to get it and who do you think needs it. So it's, you know, how are you going to go through it? Are you going to take the class online? And then remember, for that managers, you can't take the test online. Well, you can take it online, but it has to be proctored. You have to be in front of somebody who is a Serve Safe proctor, registered proctor for that exam, like myself. So that's that kind of thing. And then how much it costs. And then a link to the course. We want to do that so that you know where to find that information, right? So you can go back to it later. So when you do need to go and get it, you already have it. You did it in your assignment. You're golden. And then the same thing for your labor laws, the fire inspection. Now remember, some places may or may not have a fee. If they do have a fee, write what the fee is. If you don't, you can put, after discussion with the fire inspector, there was no fee required, as Robert did find out. But some places are different because, you know, for us, we have a fee. So this is where you really get to find out all that information. Yes, Sonia, what is your question?
You've mentioned Serve Safe, and I do have one, but it's not required for everyone, just the manager on site. Everyone else can carry a food handlers. So
yeah, that's perfect.
Assignment, am I answering the question as to, well, no, not everyone is required to carry it, just a manager, or am I saying, yes, everyone's required to? Because you don't have to be in a class to get it. We can do it online.
Yeah, the food handlers one, you can definitely do online, and you can definitely do that, that test online. But that manager certification, that one, you have to do in front of an proctor. But
well, it depends on the site that you go to, because I have one and I didn't go to a class.
Oh, and I'm just saying
I went to a class 10 years ago, but now I'm in Texas, so there's several different ones that give you the same qualifications.
Yeah, and I'm just referring to the one that I know that's in Colorado, so the Surf Safe one. So, and this is a perfect example, Sonia, so thank you so much, because each state is different. So it's so important to know what your state is going to be, because every single one is going to be different. So now is that time to know, because the one in Colorado is not going to be the one in Chicago, Illinois. It's not going to be the same one in Boston. It's not going to be the same one in your area. So just be certain.
I guess my other question then is, based off the information we gave you in week 1, so if your business is not going to be in the state that you currently live in, what information are you looking up?
You're looking up for wherever your business is going to be.
Okay.
So just find it for wherever your business is going to be. I even had a student last term who wanted to open up her place in Australia. And I was like, hey, I lived in Australia. I was like, I can flat out tell you that I know that there are places, they have their different laws and regulations. So you need to know where that is. So wherever you're going to have your business, find out that information. Lisa, was that your question? Did I just answer it for you?
I just wanted to make sure that we're looking what we did for week 1, where we're going to have our business. That's where we're going to get the information for this week.
Exactly. That's why I really wanted to make certain that you perfected that concept summary, because you're going to use that for all
same area.
Yeah. So in the area, wherever you want your business to be, wherever you put, that's where you find out that information. Perfect. Now, here's a great question. How many people are going to sell alcohol at their establishment? How many people are not going to sell alcohol? So how many people think that you do not need a liquor license if you're not selling alcohol?
I read somewhere that we should have it anyway.
You should have it anyway, because if you don't have a liquor license, that means that you are not allowed to cook with any alcohol also. So remember that, I love the faces right now. I love the faces.
You know what? That has to be different
people
too.
are allowed to brown bag it.
In New Jersey,
in your policy for your restaurant.
So, but remember, it's all, sorry, go ahead, Lisa. What was your question?
I was just going to say, in New Jersey, the towns are only allowed, there's only a certain amount of liquor licenses.
Yeah, there is. We actually lost, we lost our liquor license because the owner wanted to open up a distillery. So we ended up using our liquor license so he could get it and put it for the other business.
Not like in bigger places where it's just unlimited. There's only a certain amount of people buy an old restaurant just for the liquor license. But there's tons of restaurants here that are BYO, and you just bring your own.
Yeah. So
more often than not.
Oh yeah, definitely. So that's why it's so important to look up what it is in your area.
But you still have to have a license in order to have the BYOB.
But remember, it's still dependent on the state. You're not in her state. You're not in her
It's not
area.
a liquor license because there's only my town may only have 6.
And then remember too, it's important to know this stuff for insurance purposes. So when you're going out and you're going to get your insurance, like for us, you're going to have liquor. It's a requirement to have that TIPS certification. That TIPS certification is that certification that helps you know whether or not somebody is to look for if they're drunk or not, and if you are allowed to serve them or not. Sparkly Chef, you had your hand raised, so I wanted to double check. What is your question?
Yeah, you probably saw my expression on my face when you said liquor law. I didn't think about that, and it makes me want to do more research and check out my laws about that in the state of Hawaii, because I wanted to have, my whole concept was no alcohol, and I wanted to have a virgin bar, everything that looked just like a bar. So you can get your Mai Tais, your pina coladas, your, everything without alcohol. So I know I was going to call it my V bar. My V bar, that's what I was going to call in the center of my restaurant. But then now I got to go check the laws out to see if I still have to get a license to even have it set up that way. that looks like a bar, but with no alcohol.
One finger.
Yeah, and it's also important too for because if you're gonna still like use like banana Fosters and like do flambés and stuff like that, you still need to have that liquor license for that. Clarissa, what is your question?
Yeah, I was just wondering, when it comes to this, there are those temporary licenses for special events. Now, how much of a variation is it on acquiring those compared to a full-fledged liquor license?
That's a fantastic question. I absolutely love that you brought that up, Clarissa, because, typically with a catering company, you still want to have that liquor license. Especially if you're going to have a bar in the establishment. But when you're doing caterings, there are certain places that you have to get that required permit, that required liquor license permit in that area so that you can serve alcohol, because that is a huge thing in like the national parks and all that kind of stuff where like you're not allowed to have alcohol in like certain areas. So it's super, super important to know that stuff. And I'm always just a fan of having it just in case and for insurance purposes, just to make sure if somebody did want to have like, you're going to have like a, demi-glace where you're going to do a red wine reduction and for your deer or your elk or whatever you just hunted, whatever you felt like doing, you have that ability. And it's better to get it now in that beginning stages than later. It is harder to get it later. So it's nicer to know it now. So then I'm also going to pull up this again for you guys. So remember, I have all of that stuff in here, your labor laws, what it is. And if you're like, I don't need a liquor license, that's like, you know that you don't need a liquor license and you're good to go. That's great, but you still need to find that information for me and tell me what it is. So, and all of this is right here for you guys. Remember, check out the group, like the grading rubric. It is there for you. And remember to notice that concept description is 15% this time. So just 15% for putting that bad boy up here. If I go back, here you go. We have it right here as well. Yeah, Bill, what is your question?
Chef, on that thing you just showed, you mentioned the seller's permit. When I typed that into seller's permit and in my great state here, it kept coming up sales tax, distribution. What exactly are you looking for on that seller's permit?
So with the seller's permit, that is your that is the actual like that's a permit that allows you to sell products and services.
Like business license?
Like that sales tax.
Yeah, I mean, is it the same as that was my question. Is it the same as a business license, or is it the one where you can buy stuff without paying sales tax? You just have to pay the sales tax after you sell that product.
This is that one that lets you, it's the sales tax where like you're getting that, you're allowed to, it's also called like a resale permit. So you're able to actually like sell that item and collect taxes for it. And you get that tax ID number and all that stuff. And I actually have a great article for you guys that I will send to you guys on tomorrow, or I can do it tonight. I'll send that. I have an article about the seller's permit for you guys that'll be really helpful, and especially for this assignment. So I'll make sure that I'll send that out with you guys when I send you that the little message saying that your live session is available for you guys. Now, does anybody have any questions for me? Can you believe it? We already went through an hour. It's like craziness.
I know. Yeah, me.
You got two people waiting for a question.
Yeah.
Well, regarding that seller's permit, I don't know if it's in Hawaii. It's called a vendor's permit.
Yeah, vendor's permit. Yep.
Or you guys. I don't think you guys have this in your state, but we have a thing called GE tax license. It's a general excise tax license.
Oh, really? Oh, I'm going to look that up.
Yeah, and we have to have that number, certificate or that number to be an established business in Hawaii. You have to have a GE tax license.
Oh, I'm writing that down and I'm going to look that up because I have not heard that. So thank you. I'm going to find out about that. Thank you so much.
Yeah, you have to post it in your establishment too.
Yep, you do have to post the seller stuff in the establishment as well.
So I'm just wondering if that's the same thing. I'm
Yeah,
not sure.
you know what? I'm going to look it up and I'm going to find out.
Okay, thank you.
And I'll put it in our discussion. How about that?
Cool.
Okay, Bill, what is your question?
Why didn't you put my hand down from when I asked my previous question?
Oh,
I don't know.
I'm sorry.
Sorry.
I'm sorry about that. Now, does anybody have any questions for me?
Yes, please.
Yes, Rebecca.
When I was looking at the template that you have for us, that I really like, by the way, when it says, do you need the tax ID number? Are we just going to be putting yes or no? Or do we have to find out what kind of a number it is and put that down?
No, remember that first one, that's just your example. That's just to show you how to fill it out. So you don't have to worry about that first one. Are you talking about, well, let me pull it up for you.
No, I don't remember anymore because it's been a day or two since I saw it. So
no, it's all good. I'm gonna pull it up right now. Are you talking about this one right here? This one is just this one's just that example, so you don't have to worry about it. It's just to show you how to find, like, how it should be set up and how it looks like and how you guys should structure it.
Okay.
So, okay. Yeah. Sonia, what was your question?
Okay. I'm just completely confused. Okay, so on the week 2, I'm looking at the paperwork that we have to fill out. Yep. So the first column where it says state and local law, it's the question. Then I'm just going to use this food handler's card. That's the question. And then underneath we put yes, or we put serve safe and food manager certification. And then the second column is where we put the link that we find the information.
So you don't, this is just showing you, so this is that state or local law you got to look up, right? And then right here, you're going to say, where did you look up this local law? And then you're going to put that link. So say I found it and say I found it here in this Fort Collins government website. I'm going to copy that. I'm going to put my link right here, like so.
Okay.
And then what it is. And then I know that I need the manager's serve safe certification. I'm spelling it wrong, but you get what my drift. This is why I love spell check. And then how to get it and who in your establishment is going to need it. So I'm going to say.
So the questions we are answering are in column 3.
Yep,
just
that's right here.
Column 2 and nothing in column 1.
Correct.
Right?
Yes.
Okay. All right, gotcha.
Yeah. And then link to the course. This is where I could be like, okay, perfect. I am going to put my copy and paste my serve safe because I know I need serve safe. And ta-da. Like
and
so.
Then for the discussion, we just answer these 4 questions.
Correct.
That's it.
Yep. And then remember, you got to do your 2 peer responses.
Right. But it's basically just answering these 4 questions.
Yes.
Okay. Gotcha.
And then Archie, what is your question?
Yes, Chef. For the discussions, I did those last night, and there are 4 questions. But then when you click on, I copy those and put them in a Google Doc and then answer them. And then when I went to paste them into the discussion, 3 more questions popped up.
Oh, really?
They said, "Is Bob hurting anyone? Is Bob breaking any laws? Is Bob being honest with his boss?" So those kind of didn't go with the paragraph.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I will. Thank you so much. I did not know that because
I answered all of them, but
Yeah, thank you very much, Archie. I did not know that. Thank you so much. This is where, guys, this is a perfect example of communication, right? Because you think you have it down and then you're like, okay, the class is golden. And then you realize that there's an issue like that. So thank you so much, Archie. I will definitely look into that. And you're just answering those first 4 questions on that page. So I will change that for you guys. And Clarissa, what was your question?
Yes, as far as the EIN number is concerned, I had applied and received one a couple years ago when I went to open my From Home Bakery. How long is that number good for if I were to actually try to fully, start the business?
I'm going to look that up. I honestly do not remember. So I'm going to find out for you. I'm going to write that down and I'm going to find out, okay?
Thank you.
And then Robert, what was your question?
Could you bring up the template for week 2 again? Because I would like to ask a question about it.
Yes.
All right, you said on column 2, we had to put in where we look up this state and local law, right?
Yes.
All right, what if I put all that information from column 2 all into that column 3? Along with all my, links and all that.
Just move it over. Just move it over and just have it right in here.
Okay, don't grade me.
So that way I can click on it and pop it up and see and make sure that you guys found it in the right spot.
But it also says in the 3rd column,
the link to course.
Online link. So we're going to have to make 2 links of the same thing in 2 columns?
Yeah, because remember, I found this, I found what my law required for my area in the government website, and then I had to go to ServSafe to find the course.
Okay. Don't grade me.
Okay. So, okay. Now, does anybody have any other? Oh, Lisa, you have a question.
I do. On the discussion, like I think Archie was just saying, I already did it also, and the questions did not correspond exactly to the paragraph. So if we answered all the questions, just wait to respond to other people's.
Yeah, if you did all of them, that's fine. Thank you so much for letting me know, because I thought I fixed it all because it was a previous discussion in there before and I wanted to change it. And I wanted to change the question, so that's why, but I did not realize that it popped up in a different,
I did it like
those
days
old
and days ago, so I don't know when you changed it exactly.
Oh, I did it. Well, I did the original right before the class started up, so I didn't realize that there was another way to find that. Like there was another page that
I'll look at it again. If I need to resubmit it, I can resubmit it.
Yeah, but I'll look at it for you too, Lisa, and then I can let you know. Okay.
Okay.
Okay. Perfect. Are there any other questions for you guys?
No, but thank you. It's not so scary anymore.
No, I don't want it to be scary for you guys. That's why I'm here. I know how it's a lot of information and it's a lot of research, but I really want to make certain that you guys got this down. Like, I want you to have that foundation to succeed. So that's why I'm always like, please just call me. Like, let me know if you need help, because I am here to help. So, and the sooner that you submit, the sooner I can look at your stuff and like make sure that we got it down and give you a solid foundation. So I want you guys to have a great week. It's been fun in the live session. I can't believe it's already been over an hour. It drives me crazy because I'm like, oh my God, we can talk about so much stuff. So
now I can turn my lights on and say goodbye and aloha, because my husband's hungry. He wants to go to eat now. Bye.
I'm going
to week, everybody.
Aloha.
Edit my.
Bye, Bill. Bye,
Bye, everybody.
Archie.
I hope everybody
Bye,
has a fabulous week. And if you have questions, let me know.